If you're ready to stop building someone else's dream and start creating your own, join our free community, the Self-Directed Network, at acesmanagementinc.com/school. It's where people leaving their W-2s come together to build freedom, purpose, and momentum toward what's next. Welcome to Life After W-2. I'm your host, John Chan. After 17 years in corporate America, I made the leap to build my own business. It was messier than I thought it would be, but also full of valuable lessons I didn't know I needed. This show is about sharing shifts in mindset, pivots in strategy, and personal changes that come with pursuing financial freedom. You're not alone in this. We're all figuring it out, one step at a time. Welcome to Life After W-2. In this episode, I sit down with Kerry Komarov, who shares her journey from being a middle school teacher to building a successful business on her own terms. We talk about the challenges of teaching during COVID, the moment she decided to walk away, and how she discovered the transferable skills that helped her thrive as an entrepreneur. Kerry opens up about mindset, work-life balance, and what it really means to define success for yourself, even if it doesn't look like chasing seven figures. Let's get into it. Kerry, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about your W-2 life.
So I was a middle school teacher. I taught 7th and 8th grade reading for 10 years in the same middle school that I attended way back when. I loved teaching, I'm not going to lie. It was so much fun, but it was very exhausting. So I'm sure we'll get into it. But yeah, the life of a middle school teacher, highly entertaining.
Yeah, I can imagine. I just remember being in middle school and we were not nice to the teachers. It was just a huge mess because you're going through this transition period of no longer being a kid, but not yet like an adult. So you're just learning, just raise hell, I guess. But
Oh, yeah.
what's one of the craziest stories you have in middle school?
Oh my God. There's so many. I'm trying to think of an appropriate one because lots of them are not. But, I guess, teaching during COVID was crazy because I taught 7th and 8th grade. I sometimes have some, repeat offenders, I should call them, that I had both times, which is lovely. And, during COVID, one of my favorites, he ended up to be one of my favorites, not in the moment, but afterwards, I look back and remember him fondly. He would just come on to every single one of our COVID online teaching sessions with a ski mask or holding a fan or then holding his mom's vase,
Right.
anything to just be okay, now I'm going to remove you from the meeting. Sometimes my husband was working from home too, and he's standing off to the side. He's like, I got to see this kid. All the stories you tell him, I can't. So COVID teaching was something else. I have a lot of other stories that I'm sure middle school teachers could also tell you off camera.
Yeah.
But very entertaining. I always had a story for every party I attended with my friends.
Yeah, I bet. So then, it sounds like it was a lot of fun. What made you decide that life was no longer for you?
It was a super tough decision, right? I'm one of those people who I feel like I was born to be a teacher. And like you said, middle school is such a important time in their life. I know people think it's crazy to enjoy teaching middle school, but you make a difference in who they're going to be. So it was definitely a hard decision. The ultimate event in my life that got this whole start my own business rolling was I have two boys, and when the second one was born, he gave us a run for our money. I mean, he really rocked our world. He's the epitome of the second born child. And I kept extending my maternity leave as long as I could because I was like, I can't go back to work. Teaching is so fun, but it's so exhausting. You're putting on a show every block period, whatever the schedule may be, all times of the day. And if you don't sell yourself and sell your curriculum, then no kids are going to learn. So I was like, how can I go back to such a high energy job when I am drained? My own kid, call my students my kids, but my own kid doesn't sleep. Doesn't matter if you're rocking him, putting him down, giving him a bath, brutal. So I kept extending my maternity leave. And in that time, I was fortunate enough to kind of test the waters of entrepreneurship to see if I can make it work because I had the safety net of, well, if I can't make significant money when I've extended my maternity leave as much as I can, if I have to go back to teaching, it's there. So it was really kind of an ideal time to try it. Also very unideal time to try it because I have nothing left in me, but I'm going to try to start a business right now.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because I was in a similar spot where we had just had our second born, and the worst, absolute worst time. Like you don't have any. They're not sleeping. They're eating every 45 minutes, and you're just exhausted. But you decide, okay, well, I guess I'm gonna start a business now. So then,
Well, it was either that or go back to teaching, and I was like, teaching did not let me sit at my desk and mind my business.
so then, I mean, when you decide that you want to start, and you say try to build your own business, like what route did you go? How did you figure out what it is that you want to do, who you wanted to serve?
It took me a bit to figure out who I wanted to serve because I was stuck in this world of like, I went to school to be a teacher and I teach reading. So like what like I don't know what skills transfer. And so once I like switched my mindset and I was like, wait a minute. For the past 10 years, I've made engaging Google Slides presentations. I've taught to like varied learners, like different learning styles. I've like had great communication skills, constantly writing to parents and stuff. I was like, those skills, while I always called them like teacher, like in my teacher world, they're so transferable. So I was like, if I can make an awesome Google Slides presentation and deliver it in a fun way, I can totally make Instagram posts and social media posts. And then, I got into like making newsletters for my clients. So my area of expertise, I could say, is totally from the teaching world. I use my writing skills and my like digital creativity to do blogs, newsletters, a magazine centerfold type things. So also social media, stuff like that. So it's just a perspective switch of how can I take what I used to do in the classroom and do it for people with their own business.
Yeah, I like that where you said you didn't say I have no transferable skills. Like, how do I take what I've already done for the past
Mm.
10 years and then apply it to something else?
Yeah. Yeah. Total
So then,
mindset.
yeah, it's a big mindset change, right? So then you
Mhm.
decide, okay, these are the skills that I can bring to the table. Then how do you start? I mean, do you have any experience running a business? Did you know anything about running a business?
0. 0 whatsoever, and I mean, I already told you my whole goal was to be a teacher. I didn't have this, like, itch that I needed to be an entrepreneur one day. I mean, when I tell you I literally was like, "I can't go back to work, but I need to make money," I was, like, Googling how to do that. So it was very much like, I'm proud of it now, but it was very piecemeal, trial and error in the beginning. But it was no risk because I was on maternity leave. And so if it really flopped and I had nothing, I would go back to teaching. And I think that's what made it easier to take the risks in trying this and trying that because I think somewhere inside I actually thought I'm going to have to go back to teaching. There's no way this is going to work. I think I probably believed that at one point.
Well, I think we all kind of go through that. Like, we just think, okay, well, this is not going to work. I need to go find a job. But for whatever reason, it just doesn't seem to work out, and you just keep pushing.
Yeah. I think it was like, I have to make this work because at that point I was already in the mindset of like, I want to be home. I want to work in sweatpants. I want to work around a nap schedule. I want to be able to go to story time at the library. So like I had a lot of like things that I was getting used to because when you're on maternity leave, once you get out of like, the newborn bubble and you have like an older kid, there's a lot of things like you get to do stuff during the day. You're like, look at me, I'm out at the grocery store at 2 p.m. So I wanted that. I think that was kind of part of the motivation too.
Yeah, another friend of mine, he was in a previous episode. He said real luxury is going to Costco at 11 a.m. on a Tuesday.
There's no lines, let me tell you. It is a luxury.
Yeah. So you have no idea how to run a business. You start Googling. Do you start reaching out to people? I mean, do you just immerse yourself in audiobooks, podcasts, YouTube videos? Like, what do you do?
So my cousin who I have not spoken to in a pretty long time, but we're friends on Instagram. She lives in Florida. I'm in Pennsylvania. She had a newborn about the same time as me. And as I'm like scrolling through Instagram to see how to get this child to sleep, I see her with her newborn resting in her arms, sleeping, and her laptop. And her comment on her story was like, I feel so lucky that like I can do both, like make money and have all the newborn snuggles. So I like literally slid into her DMs. I was like, what are you doing? She's like, I own my own business. I have clients. I think she did like some kind of like bookkeeping and social media for them. And she's like, honestly, I don't want to say it's so easy because it's not easy to get clients, but the work, once you get a client, the work you do for them is so easy because of the background that like you already have. Like she was in event planning. So she already has the organization, like the outreach and all that. She's like, you're a teacher. You can literally create anything you want to create. So she kind of gave me a couple pep talks of like, the work you're going to do is going to be so easy. You just have to put yourself out there to get a client.
Right. So then what kind of work did you start doing?
Well, right off the bat, I learned a very hard lesson. I was kind of willing to do anything because I felt like I needed my foot in the door. And so my very first client, and like, you have to be thankful. These people give you the chance. They don't know. I don't think she knew that she was my first client, but like, she just kept handing stuff off to me, and it was all of her, like, busy work type of stuff, and I was, like, so happy to have, a client that trusts me, like, you've gotta hand over all your passwords and your whole processes and the whole thing, so I was very happy to have her, but then it hit me probably, like, 2 months later, I was like, I don't really wanna do her busy work, and so from there, I kinda learned what I wanted to do, which was create stuff, and I love, like, talking business strategy with people, so I kinda, like, created my own, like, business baby, I guess you could call it, of, like, this system, podcast being one of it, where it's like I meet with clients, I straighten up what they have going on. Most of their files are like they don't even have folders, actually. They're just all over the place. Straighten up their email, get all their things situated. Then I kind of make templates and SOPs for them so that we have like a solid groundwork. And then from there, my favorite part is like pitching them a new pillar of their business. So like maybe they have a huge email list, but they've never sent a newsletter. Or maybe they just need to like get word out about their product. And so I help schedule them on podcasts. And then like, podcasts can turn into a blog can turn into an Instagram post, a LinkedIn post, and it all trickles down. So it all depends on what each client needs. But that strategy, once it's all organized, is my favorite part. And then I take over it. So I can't be like, hey, I know you have a lot going on, but I really think you should start writing a newsletter. Like, yeah, that sounds great, but like with what time? And then it's like, well, I'll do it. So I just like take over the new pillar that I suggest they have.
It's smart because I mean, newsletter is something that I've had trouble with. Just keeping up with the content, the posting of stuff, regardless of how uncomfortable or comfortable it is just a challenge to keep up with it every single day, week, month. So that's good. The service that you offer is helping people establish like an online presence.
Yeah. And I think it's like, I tend to think of it in a way like, I will do all the stuff for you and your business that doesn't directly make you money, right? Like sending out a newsletter doesn't directly make you money. However, it indirectly does. Because, like, for example, one of my clients is a general contractor. I write a quarterly newsletter for him, send it out every quarter. I do a quarterly newsletter for him. Every quarter, he gets email replies of like, "Oh, I've been thinking about kitchen renovation. Like, when can I get you in for an estimate?" So, like, yeah, he didn't have the time, or he's such a lovely gentleman, or the know-how to make a good-looking newsletter. And so it's like something that he would never want to spend time learning how to do. Probably couldn't put together a decent enough looking one to like make it valuable for people in their inbox because inboxes are always flooded. So, that's not directly making him money, but indirectly it's showing people like, hey, I'm still there. I'm not like a ghost account on social media. So it's definitely an online presence and things that you're not going to necessarily profit off of in that moment.
Right. Yeah, it's just nurturing the relationships that you've already started to build.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
consistency. Like I tell them like you don't need to go viral on Instagram. You just have to you can't someone wants you for your service, they can't see that your last post was 4 months ago.
Right. So then you put in all this work, you find out what you don't want to do. At what point do you finally realize that, oh, this is something that may work?
Okay, so around April in the teaching world, if you're going to extend your maternity leave, you have to come back at the start of a marking period. And so the last marking period of the year starts around April. And so I was like, I'll just extend it till April and then I'll finish out the school year to keep my contract so that I could at least continue to try during the summer. And in April, I was like, but I have like so many not so many clients because you don't want to overflow yourself with clients. Like I have 4 solid clients that I've been with for a long time now, and, I was trying to figure out how I could keep them and still figure out how to teach April, May, and June, half of June. So it was like 2.5 months that I would really be working 2 jobs for the most part, which is like so the opposite of what I ever wanted to do. But when I was literally putting the hours on the calendar of like, okay, teaching 7:30 to 3:30, then get my kids by 4 and then have dinner and put them to bed by 7:30, I was like, there's no time left for my clients. So the risk in not returning to teaching in April is that your contract is still there in the district, but it could be moved. So I was teaching at my middle school. My contract would still be there in September, but it could be at a different middle school or the high school or whatever. And like to me, that felt like starting over. So that was like the ultimate risk of like, okay, well, if I'm not going to go back this school year, I'm probably not going to go back at all. And so then when I extended it into June, that's when I put in my letter of resignation
How scary
because I
was that?
couldn't do both.
Yeah, how scary was that?
Oh, sorry. It wasn't scary, honestly, because I was already I was at that point making my same income and so like replacing it and almost exceeding it. So it
Mhm.
wasn't scary. If anything, I would say it was a little heartbreaking because I knew how hard I worked to be a teacher and my teacher friends were my best friends. So like, they're not just your coworkers, they're like your family type of thing. And so I also felt like I was letting a couple students down a little bit. So it was more so heartbreaking. And I really had to come to terms with like what I wanted from my life most one day has changed and like it's okay. Like it's okay to have a change of heart. Like almost felt like I was letting myself down by like not being a teacher until I was ready to retire. And so I had to be like, well, that's what I wanted at one point in my life. And what I want now is so different. It's to be with my kids, make money, but on my own time and like be present for my family. And so it was more so sad than scary.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, what was the most difficult thing outside of that with when you were going through that transition of, I'm no longer going to be a teacher. Yes, I'm letting some kids down, but on the business side, what was one of the most difficult parts of that transition?
Like in the entrepreneurial side.
Yeah,
I guess it's always still in the back of my head too. Like I told you, I have 4 clients. I've been with them for a very long time. I have a very big footprint in their business at this point, but I'm also still a contractor, So where you have stability and a salary with teaching and like it's always going to be there. I know that I've been with my clients for a long time and I can foresee that I'm going to stay with them for a long time. But the reality is, the contract says you need to give me 30 days notice. So in 30 days, at any point, I could be on the hunt for a new client. I don't really predict that happening right now with who I have and what I do for them. But the very harsh reality is that it could.
yeah. There's always that comfort with knowing that you're going to have a job, you're going to get a paycheck. But then even in your spot where you have 4 stable clients, you just never know, right? Anything can happen.
Right. But then I go back, like, so, I've done little projects for people. I've had other retainer clients, and for one reason or another, it just wasn't like a fit for the long run. So, over the time of being an entrepreneur, I've worked with, I think, 12 clients. I only need 4. I never had 12 at any one time. That's crazy. I only need 4 with what I have going on right now. So, if I could get 12 and one day one of my clients drops me, I could get another one. I don't love being in the hunt and like being in the scramble, but it's doable and I've done it, so
So your goal is to have 4 clients and then you're happy.
yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say it's about the number of
Mm,
clients. I think it's about the income that comes from the 4 that I particularly have right now.
got it. So I think what I was trying to get at was, I forget which book this was, but it was talking about, business owners. Sometimes we want to go out, we want to scale this massive business, but why? Like, why do we need to do that? If we're happy with a certain level, like there's really no reason to try to create these larger companies, because sometimes it's a lot more work and it's not worth it to meet your personal goals. And so I like hearing that, because when I think about it, it's like, oh, I want to have this like massive company. Well, why? If I'm okay with just an X number of clients, like why would I not just keep it that way? I get to still hang out with my kids. There's less headaches and all that, right?
You know what? People need to talk about that more, and now that I know the business and the behind the scenes of this, I get it. But how many times I mean, your algorithm's probably the same as mine, it's all business related stuff and, like,
Right.
a couple cute kids clothing, but otherwise, it's like how to make 7 figures by the end of this year. I'm just thinking, like, first of all, good fucking luck, excuse me, but, like, good luck. You're gonna make 7 figures in your first year of business. If you do, you're some kind of I don't know, I need to talk to you, I guess. But also, I personally don't need to make 7 figures in order to live a very comfortable life. Not even just, like, a good life, like a very comfortable life for me and my husband and my 2 boys does not equal me solely bringing in 7 figures. And so
Mhm.
you get caught up in what you see on Instagram being like, "Here's the book that you need to buy that's gonna teach you to get to 7 figures," and you're like, "But that person's running their business too. I can't hate them for that." But if you don't need that, it's nuts. There's a word for it, and I forget what it is. Maybe it's like your magic number or whatever it is, but it's like
Mm.
figure out what you actually need and then what you need to do to get there.
Yeah, that brings up another good point because there's a lot of times where someone will say, "This is the secret to scaling," or I don't know if there's anything that you can do outside of actually putting in the work to get your goals. Like no book is going to give you the answer because everyone's different.
I know. I know. And like I was just I do a little couple like networking calls with some virtual friends. I don't think I'll ever meet them in real life because they're all over the place, but I meet with them regularly and I was pitching this idea to this girl and I was like, I don't know, like I think I want to do some like passive income idea with like videos and people can download them and whatever. And she was like, "Can I just stop you?" She's like, "I think you're bored." She's like, "You're making enough money and then some. You have all this time to go to the playground, the park, the midday pickup from preschool. Like, why would you add more stress?" She's like, "Go take a watercolor class or go like, start like a book club." She's like, "Why would you do something that's going to add stress when you don't need it?" And I was like, "You're actually so right. Like, why would I do that? I don't know, because I'm bored, because I'm working a little bit of time, making a good amount of money, and is wasn't that the whole point?"
Mm.
So you
Yeah.
forget.
Yeah, but at the same time, like if there's something that you want to do, I don't think there's anything wrong with want like just going and putting in the work. Because if it doesn't feel like work, you enjoy doing it, and you can make some money doing, like why not, right?
I agree with that, yeah. So what I've done is made that, like, my long-term goal when my kids are both in elementary school, just for the sake of they have a place to be doing something good for them for a chunk of the day. Right now, they're both
Right.
in preschool, so, like, it is still in my head, but more realistically, it's gonna be a good long-term goal.
Have you ever thought about, or have you ever explored the option of just creating a course? So someone, let's just say, has experience with self-directed retirement accounts or private lending in real estate. Would you ever like partner with someone to create like a course on these topics, or are you kind of focused on one specific lane?
Do you mean, like, as if I would help my clients do that, or if I would collaborate with them and we would together make a course?
Yeah, collaborate.
So it's crossed my mind, but I should tell you, I'm very proud of this. I
Uh-huh.
have 0 business expenses with the exception of the people who pay me via Venmo, and those expenses are not a lot. And I've done enough research to know that if you're gonna make a legitimate course, you need to pay for the platform that the course exists on.
Mhm.
And I've made it work that I have to dump $0 into my business, and so for that reason, probably not. I'd find, like, a piecemeal way to do it, which is what I've played with, but it could never be, like, a high ticket offer because if it doesn't come on a platform that people are familiar with, they might not trust it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. And the reason why I ask is because I've thought about doing something like that where it's a low ticket item, right? But it also brings a ton of value because there's a lot of things that people are interested in, but everything always costs thousands of dollars. If I could just put it all in there for like 27 bucks and you have
Mhm.
everything that you need, like why not? But I
And
was just
you sell
curious.
the same thing over again. It takes no more
Yeah,
of your time.
yeah,
I
exactly.
know, it's so enticing, but I don't wanna put any money into this because I haven't had to do it yet, so
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. This is what works for you.
yeah. But you got my
So,
wheels turning.
yeah, I'd like to explore that if that's something that you're interested in, and no pressure either. So yeah, you have a successful life, right? You're very happy with where you're at now. What's one of the biggest mindset issues you've had to get over?
Okay, I think any female listening to this will hear me loud and clear. By nature, we're so like emotionally invested in things and people pleasers and polite and kind. Not that guys aren't those, but I think women carry those characteristics. And so I had a big problem in the beginning, maybe letting people down by saying, like, no, I'm, you didn't contract me to do that task. So you can't just add it on unless you're going to start paying me to do that. And I kept like starting my emails with like, I'm sorry, but blah, blah, blah. And my husband was like, why are you apologizing? He's like, you don't owe anybody anything. You own your own business. You make the rules and you just stand by it. And he literally said to me, it's just business. And that phrase was so freeing. Like, okay, yeah, these people, like, I didn't just stand up my best friend at the bar for drinks when we were supposed to get drinks. Like, yeah, then I should apologize and feel some type of way about it. But I shouldn't have to apologize for sticking by my contract because it's just business. And
Yeah.
that phrase from him, like, I make the rules and it's just business was like a game changer for me. So I think females specifically feel that just because it's in our nature to be like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Like, what are you sorry for? He's like, do you even know what you're sorry for? I was like, no.
Like, being a people pleaser is going to hurt you a lot in the future,
Well,
or
because
just
then you
in
don't have
general.
boundaries. So
Yeah.
boundaries kind of goes hands in hands with this whole thing, but it's tough to break when you just want to say yes.
Yeah. So it sounds like you had, I mean, for the most part, you had a low risk entry into this world. You were still getting paid, and you kind of took that chance with free time that you had. Well, not really free. I mean, just time away from work, because it definitely wasn't free time. You had to make time for it for sure. So knowing what you know now, like, what's some advice that you'd give to yourself when you decided that I'm going to give this a shot?
Yeah, I think there's like two things that I really stand by. So, like, one, if there's no job that's going to work well for you and your family and your needs, you can create it. Like, you don't have to Google what can I do, what job openings are out there, but how can I work from home and, from 3:15 to 4:45 when my kid naps, like, just make it. You can make your own job. And my second thing is that you don't have to go take a bunch of courses to learn the skills to do what people need. You have the skills inside. You just need to see them from a different perspective.
Yeah, I love that second piece because it was one of those things that I struggled with is I had this extensive career in like accounting and in consulting, and I was trying to do something that was completely different than what I had gone to school for. So yeah, like trying to find a way to leverage the skills and experience that you have now to build something out, build your own, create your own job, right, or create your own business. I think it's really great advice.
Yeah. Okay, I don't know about you, but like I feel like a lot of people like I have a college degree, bachelor's degree, and two master's degrees. And I was
Right.
literally out here thinking, I can't do anything besides teach. That's literally crazy. I did
Yeah.
not pay for all that school to come out here being like, I can't do anything but teach. So like you do have to like kind of hype yourself up. And once you think of that, you're like, yeah, wait, what? I can do this.
So Carrie, I appreciate you coming on and sharing your experience. So how can you help people and how can people reach out to you and work with you?
Yes. So I have a website. Well, I should call it a web page, but as you know, I have no business expenses. So I made it myself on Canva because it's
Mhm.
free and you can do that. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles, but it has everything you need to know about me so that if you click let's chat, you hop on the call with me and we don't feel like strangers. So I have a website which doesn't have a pretty URL, so I'll send it to you. It's like my Canva site, something like that.
It works.
So I'll send it to you. You can put it in the show notes for people. And then
Yeah.
also Facebook is where I do all of my business communications. My Instagram is really just personal stuff, pictures of my kids, my cats and stuff. So Facebook and my website, which I will give you.
Okay. Very cool. Yeah. We'll make sure to have all that in the description just to make life easier for everyone. Carrie, it was great conversation. Thank you so much again for coming on.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.
That's it for today's episode of Life After W2. I'm John Chan and I appreciate you tuning in. If this episode resonated with you, share it with a friend who's ready to take control of their financial future. And if you're curious about how self-directed retirement accounts can unlock opportunities in alternative investing, grab our free guide. It's packed with insights to help you get started. The link's in the description. See you next time.